This project starts like any other story.
Check it out. Here it is.
Behind door number 3. Any other story involving Victor.
Isn't that beautiful?
I don't know if that's the exact verb I'd use, but it's something.
Look at that canvas. If that isn't a canvas to work with, there's nothing better than this. Look at.
There's nothing better than this. It's, dare I say, one of a kind. At one time, apparently this was a 49 Chevy pickup.
I know it looks rough, but this thing has so much history. This is my brother's truck, manual. You know, we lost him a few years back, and this was his project. You think I'm crazy, look at his stuff.
So you're saying that the kind of craziness runs in the family. You're not the only one with the affliction. This thing is weird.
My brother started the craziness, and we're gonna finish the craziness.
I guess Manny was going for some kind of like ultimate tailgate party vehicle, and Victor wants to run with that concept, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I definitely get the front, classic 50s Chevy pickup, but really don't understand what's going on here. It looks like two different really developed projects, and obviously somebody converted it to dual rear axles. I see it's got a front clip under the front, but this looks like some kind of skateboard ramp or something.
Hey, a truck is a truck is a truck. This is, I don't know what it is, but let's turn it back into a truck and make a bed in the back.
So that's a different concept. I wasn't getting that. But if you're talking about putting it back into a pickup truck, that makes all the sense in the world.
Don't look at it the way it is now. Look at it as us changing it into the ultimate party vehicle.
Party barge.
Yes.
Now we're getting somewhere.
You know what? And I had visioned as this thing in my dream.
Nightmare?
Flo,
or
no,
dream?
it was no nightmare. It was like a vision. I mean, we need to get this out of here, and let me get some lines on here, and I'll show you what I was visioning.
I can see this project is really special to Victor. You know, it's a piece of his heart involved with it. I'm gung-ho. I'm going along for the ride 100%. I'm really excited to see what his transformation entails. I guess we're building this thing. It's been one day since I saw the project last. Now we got it in the shop. If you know Victor like I know Victor, the whole plan could have changed. I gotta say, I'm not as optimistic as I was yesterday. You're talking about diamond in the rough, and that's a hard sell. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Do you need glasses or something?
I may,
Look at that thing.
Right. That's the problem. As a fabricator, I'm looking at what happened, so let's look through that and see where it's going. Victor is an experimental conceptualist at its finest. So as he's going through the motions, you know, as he's expressing his ideas, I'm feeding into it and deciding how I'm gonna make it better. And that's how we work together. So I'm excited every time he starts with a concept.
So what do you think?
Crazy enough. I mean, it totally changed it. The concept I love. It's just, again, this fabrication's pretty weird. I said, let's take this roof off. You know, it's here. It's good template material, but it's gonna be way easier to start fresh.
You're the fabricator.
Yeah, well, you're always
I'm the pencil guy.
Right. You know, Victor's got his concepts, and I've got my wish list. Of paramount and primary importance is to get this roof off the vehicle, whatever it takes.
All right, ready?
Just like that, my mind is free of that ugly roof. Whoa, look at the structure in there, man.
I wonder why they would have built double walls, though.
It looks like somebody was changing their mind.
I think they were teaching somebody what the heck to do there.
All right, I gotta confess. It was me that did this many years ago.
So you did this. When did you guys
I didn't do the welding. Look how professional the structure is. I had that helper, Trent.
Yeah.
I was teaching Trent fabrication, and it was actually his pet project.
Well, I had a little input too, but I didn't see what you guys
Right,
did.
see
I
what-
just was involved with talking about it.
Yeah.
So.
And he would come to me and he'd just say, I want a few minor enhancements. And things changed and changed and changed. There are things like skeletons in the closet. You know, everybody's got their, oops moments, the stuff you don't talk about. This is one of them, and we're staring face to face, just like back in the day. Gotta remedy this. Already, man, look at this. This is more like it. Look at all this room in here. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. Feel better about this than you did 10 minutes ago?
Oh yeah, that roof, I don't want to say I've held a grudge for 15 years, but it's all behind us now. Onward and upward. I can't say that I've waited my whole life to build the ultimate party barge, limo, cruiser, tailgate machine, or whatever it is, but here we go. It wouldn't be the official start to any project without a little inspecting. Don't pay attention to all this rust. I mean, it is what it is, but it's a good foundation. You gotta understand that. I might not be the only one in the shop that needs some convincing. Don't be concerned. It's all well fabricated. It's just been sitting outside. Now, there's gonna be a lot of work going on in here. I want you guys back in the green room. No, there's gonna be grinding, welding, sandblasting. But the good thing is you guys are gonna get the cruise because this whole back is gonna be a full custom cruise machine. This could be the first opportunity for the inspectors to go out cruising on the boulevard, They need to keep their inspirations high, their inspections in check, because this could be the big moment. Back in the celebrity lounge, come on. I don't want to build something nice on top of something that's crusty. What I'm seeing underneath here is rock solid. I mean, look at these trusses going down the side. They have surface rust, but they're not cancered out or anything. So you got this truss structure on the outer wall, and then you have this grid of 1/8-inch wall tube for the floor. As a foundation, this is perfect. Victor was telling me when his brother bought this car, it was some kind of like LA Lakers, basketball tailgate party machine. You can see the Lakers purple shining through. We got to take everything off. That purple paint job was actually pretty good, but this black over it, no bueno. Same thing on this door. See, everything's lifting, right? Regardless of the direction that this project takes, we're gonna need to start with a clean slate, and that means cleaning everything. The whole concept of this vehicle is fun time party machine, right? So gotta just try to keep that vision, that vibe through the whole project. And starting a project with a fixed set of parameters, a known outcome, is probably a lot easier, but I thrive on the weird stuff. I wanna work on the things where anything's possible and the end result is not known. With the body panels removed, I wanted to media blast everything and bring it all down to bare metal. This dustless blasting system is spraying water all over the bare metal, so it's naturally going to start to rust again once you finish it. So after you get all the heavy crud off, I go back with a sander and just try to get everything as clean as possible. This is not that glamorous. It's purely preparation, but you're kind of romancing it. You're learning what it's all about, what's beneath the skin, so to speak. And I got a million ideas what to do next. In a strange turn of events, Victor has called me back out to his junkyard yet again.
Ian, check it out back here. Isn't that beautiful?
That is. I recognize that nose. What's going on with the rest of this thing?
Well, I had another vision. After we seen the truck and we stripped it, I said something doesn't feel right. So I said, hey, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 Lincoln Zephyrs.
Yeah.
Why don't we put a Zephyr front end on this thing?
Hey, great concept. You don't really seem to have much here, though. I mean, is there anything more?
So I got the fenders, the grill, the hood, next door, and the trailer. So you could cut up anything you want and make it work.
Believe it or not, between me and Victor, I am the voice of reason, so it's up to me to state the facts of reality. I love the look of the Zephyr. The other one we built is awesome, so I mean, why not put it on the front of that truck? It's just gonna be a significant challenge, you know. These are two totally different vehicles, obviously. The door jamb to the grille front is way bigger than that truck. I think that this is physically wider and the truck is taller.
But like everything you've ever done for me, you've made it work. So what's the difference about this situation?
Every time he has a crazy idea, I find a way to make it happen. So he is not concerned with the problems with this concept. Look how long that nose is from the door to the
Isn't that nice?
Well, it's beautiful.
I mean, long, me remember, I'm like, long.
Right.
That's it. Thanks. That even gives me more
Perfect.
inspiration.
This is a major departure from our initial consultation, but I'm used to Victor throwing the curveball, so yeah, nothing new in this project. All right, another fine adventure. Let's see what else you got. I've seen these Zephyr bodies in the yard before, but I haven't seen any of the other parts, you know. This is a great concept, but if he doesn't have the goods, this could be a whole new can of worms. Oh yeah. That's a stash of Zephyr parts. It's all here. You got stuff, sir. You got red, white, like a peach color, and green. You got all the parts right here.
Yeah, Ian, look, I even got Jeffrey from Toys R Us.
Is this finally your bucket list? You've got the giraffe, you've got the Zephyr, you got the bubble top. Is there anything else?
Today, no. Tomorrow's another day.
You can't make this up. You know, Victor's process is definitely not in a straight line. You know, there's left turns, there's right turns, sometimes there's U-turns. I just put the blinders on. I have no fear of consequence, etc. If it's a good idea, we're doing it. Oh man, look at these things. Oh yeah, this sheet metal is all cherry, man. Look at this, no rust. Usually you see stress cracks around here, no filler. That's probably the original paint. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Crazy. It's definitely all here, man. And 6 hubcaps and a spare. It's a perfect starting point.
So there's all the stuff you need. I've done my job. Call me if you have any questions.
I've got
See
questions.
when it's done.
I've got questions. This is where we get to the good part. You know, Victor throws out this wild card, this crazy concept, and I know exactly how I'm gonna do it. Now that Victor and I have concluded our fantasy discussion on how this thing could flesh out, it's time to get down to the reality of the matter. So I'm gonna try to just detach these hood and fender mounting points and the grille surround and bring it over there. This is a complete cut, refabricate, and figure it out moment. The only way to fix that, with a saw. The philosophy in this dissection is take the easy way out. Look at all the weakest points and remove just what you need. Victor thrives in the, decision-making process, right? He's just like, I want this, that, and that. I'm a little skeptical because they definitely don't fit together. It's up to me to pull it off. So if all my calculations are correct, I have liberated the nose of the vehicle. Like butter. Now we're gonna go back to the lab, see how this all fits together. First mode of operation is to always just stand back and get an impression. You know, do I like it or do I don't like it? Here's where the plot thickens. If your fender is matching the fender on the truck, you'd see the hood height is pretty radically different, as well as a host of other things. Mating these two pieces together is gonna be a major issue. You know, I'm not disputing my original statement, but just look at this. The effort is gonna be well worth it. That's the hard part, you know. The viewing audience may not see what Victor and I see by just sticking that nose on there. They'll be like, what? I'm like, no way, whatever it takes. Look at that. Seeing all the parts lying around separate, it's one thing. The concept's another. Getting things kind of squared off and, visualizing if it's possible, now I'm convinced I'm going all the way. It's definitely got the look. I could see it. I don't know if anyone else can, but it's just gonna take a bunch of cutting. First step is to bop this fender back into some usable state. It's totally out of shape, so I'm just gonna do a quick slam and bang with the hammer and then see how it fits with the wheelbase on this. It's the old log technique. I've yet to try it, but rumors are it yields good results. Back in the day, before there was all these fancy tools, sometimes you would run your car into a tree and dent it, right? What you didn't know is that the saving grace could be in the tree you collided with. It's times like this when I dig deep into my bag of tricks. See? That's the beauty of old cars. This isn't perfect, but definitely closer to looking like a fender. Look at that. Where'd the dent go? I don't see it. So you can see if that tire is centered in the fender as it's supposed to be, it's way out of shape. My plan is to get this fender oriented with the front wheel and then build the rest of the nose around that. The whole setup with this fender placement is stance. You want the thing to look low, custom, a harmonious balance, if you will. Look at this. Look at this crunch. Look at this crunch. And when you stand here looking down on it, now that it's on a level floor, it's like this. The bottom of this nose is smashed beyond repair. I'm just gonna cut it off and decide what to do with it later. Fitting this up, you can see there's definitely way different proportions in the two vehicles, so as usual, I'm taking baby steps. Just fit it up, cut away, keep working it until it feels right. That's a great looking truck. Look at that. Nose is starting to look good, small step in the right direction. This Zephyr front end swap is really taking shape, but the key component, to selling it is how the front hood fits. So just to say, as if the floor was the height of the fender lip right there, right? That's a significant difference. If I set the Zephyr hood on the truck, there's gonna be that huge gap between the two. And it also doesn't fit the cowl. If you look at these two Vs, this V here is a totally different orientation of the front of the windshield than the Zephyr had. The two key components that I'm working with are the truck hood and the Zephyr hood, and I need to mix them up somehow that comes off convincing. The proportions are way out. It's got to look like it counts. So you can see it's completely not the look we're going for. Regardless of which hood is easier to splice in to this concept, the Chevy truck hood is just wrong on the whole front end. Let me lay that hood on top, take a look. The thing I'm really concerned with is this height, right? I don't want it to look broken. I don't want it to look it's gotta flow. In the whole process, it's important to stay absent-minded. Some folks would stay open-minded. Some folks would just get stuck on things. But just let the void be the void and let the hands do the work. Somehow it happens. I just had an idea. The edge of that hood is just sheet metal. There's no special bracketry in there. Being that the Zephyr hood is so much longer, maybe I'll just cut this sheet metal to fit this cowl and then build off of it. We don't even have to, I thought I was gonna fuse the two hoods together, but that seems like it's going in the completely wrong direction. Every project has its own vibe, that's all I could say. If I was a pro, I'd stick to the rules. I just let the truck or the vehicle tell me what to do. End result, this rear portion needs to be significantly wider. There's a couple ways to go about it. Cut this hood right through the center, which I don't want to do. It's always an easier way around things. So I'm going to get rid of this structure first and lay it on here. Maybe this thing will just open up a little bit. I don't know. If I could get this hood into shape without any major slices down the middle, everything will be better in the long run. Stick it on there and see what happens. Ha! Better than it were. There's your trace line. This is the simplest template ever. That's all it comes down to, you know. Use your part and trace it. No measuring needed. It's all just a rough layout, but that's the best starting point I can think of. Not too Chevy. There may be a more scientific way to do this, but hey, whatever gets the job done. We just look right to here, and we see that there's a difference of 2 inches. I'm measuring the nose to the nose. It's a 2-inch offset. It's a piece of 2-inch steel. That there is your contour. I guess this whole style of metal forming, I use the word style loosely. This technique is purely by necessity. Having nothing, you figure out how to do something. Like a glove. Another couple trims, we're in the game. I throw a few tacks on the rear of the hood just to keep everything in place while the rest of the fit up begins. This is what the whole hood issue has been leading up to. Truck's coming through nice and graceful, hits the hood, and looks broken. The only way through it is to raise the front of the hood. You know, you could do some kind of an arching shape or whatever, but firstly, I need to raise up this thing on some kind of a shim and take another look at it. Sold. I love how it looks a little more aggressive and nosy, because, you know, right? It's just my style. I mean, it's not too often this happens, maybe only once in a fabricator's career, when the builder and the car start to look alike. The tool you've heard so much about, but if you look just right, the body line flows right through that hood. This mock-up is definitely presentable at this stage, but I have some ideas that will push it over the edge. I've been working in my own bubble. It's time to get the inspectors on the scene. Remember that weird truck thing? We decided on Zephyr sheet metal for the front. I know, it's completely different. Normally they like to be involved in the process, kind of a pause-on thing, and so far they've been left out. It's time to get them included and come up with a couple concepts. Do you see any issues, any ideas, any concerns with the way this hood is going to come in between the truck and the Zephyr? I don't know, I've never seen one this ambitious. See, the thing is, he's the heavyweight on the crew, so he sends up the light duty to check up the top side of things. All right, so this is my idea. My plan here is to make, I know you're all about it, I don't even have to explain it to you. Lil seems to be very approving of the process, so at least I have one on my side. I'm talking to you. My plan is to make a one-piece nose, with a tilt on it. Wait a second, that just threw him off. See? Young blood knows what time it is. He's more the traditional stickler. I know exactly what this dog's thinking. Oh yeah, I'm a one-trick pony. I do the tilt slide nose on too many projects, right? But every time I just gotta convince him that it's a solid concept. My plan for this, after having trimmed it up and attached the fenders to this front nose piece, I think it's gonna go a lot smoother if the entire nose of the vehicle is one piece. It slides forward and tilts, so it's a really fast end to this task. You know, we're putting in a new engine, transmission, airbags, the whole deal, so just to expedite the process, this will be completely out of the way, so it can be into body work while we're doing the mechanical stuff. The whole thing is Victor had no demands except put that Zephyr on that truck. So it's free reign. I'm doing exactly what I want. You know, this is my wish list with this slide tilt mechanism.
Always remember, if you have the option between the cool sunglasses and the weird ones, always choose the weird ones.
The front of the truck frame is extending beyond the Zephyr nose, so off it goes. Normally, I would, consult with the client, but Victor's direct words was, that's not my problem. So I get to do whatever I want.
Now let's see how these things fit.
I want to get this grille temporarily in place. That's a primary element in the fit up of it. The front end's been smashed. I want to make sure the stock grill's set in there to keep everything oriented properly.
Oh, that's the sound of adjustment. Like when I go to the chiropractor, sounds just like that.
It's of primary importance that these grill pieces fit. If they don't fit up now and we're already down the road, it's going to be a disaster.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Definitely helps the whole front end though. Now that that is established, let's get on with the hinge and the pivot. The push of a button, I want this entire nose to launch into outer space. You shoot for the stars, you might just reach the moon. So I'm planning for this thing to jettison into orbit. If it doesn't, it's just going to slide and tilt. Either way, I win. What I've assembled is this trailer hitch stock, just like in the back of your pick-em-up truck. They got these nice flat plates, one side on the truck, one side on the slide-em-a-bobber.
I've done this concept a few times before and it's always worked out great. The whole challenge here is in the sliding mechanism, it's got to be well reinforced so that they stay parallel, it stands the test of time. There's a huge amount of leverage on this when it's working, so it's got to be strong.
For some reason, I'm always just using stuff that's laying around.
I love the idea of a one-piece nose. That's probably why people started doing that. Why do they modify anything? So it's like you show up, it's like, wow, one-piece nose. It's a tilt front end. Who doesn't like that? The whole thing I'm doing here is to get this strong enough to present as a concept. Hey, look, it works, right? Later on, there'll be a lot more heavier structure inside. This is just to sell the concept.
I think the hinges are good to go. It should slide and tilt. If it doesn't, you're fired. So like everything else, you don't know till you try it, right?
This is exactly what I needed to see, I kind of knew the concept of the hinge and slide was going to work, but the actual Zephyr nose is something I've never accomplished, so it looks good to me. It's going to work.
All right, so I'm really happy with the way this whole thing operates. The tilt, the slide, it's all right there. The big issue I'm having is this door. When the fender shuts, it completely blocks the door. There's no way that's gonna open without some major surgery. So while Victor's in crazy mode, I'm gonna pitch him an idea that just might seal the deal. Zephyr hood just isn't gonna fit. Now, Victor is a busy man. He's very confident at this point with my ability to fabricate, and that's a good sign. So he says, go for it. I'm going for it. As they say, it's always easier to ask for an apology than forgiveness.
The good thing about Victor being gone is I get to do exactly what I want, and there's a whole other thing I want to try here.
So therein lies the issue.
Does that truck look broken to you? Looks broken to me.
I know the front of this hood has to come up. It's just way too low. So that's when the decision-making starts. Well, is it that much?
You don't need any fancy lines or renderings or laser levels or anything. Just, does it look good or don't it look good? The whole thing is looking at the bed rail, into the door, and then across to the hood
And looking at this, it is nose down just a touch. So it looks pretty good to me. This truck it's just different. You know, this bulge, the pronounced bulge is supposed to be up here, not down here. So as much as it does line up, I'm just concerned that it's gonna be like a muffin top. Each problem requires a unique solution. Fortunately, I have years and years of just winging it under my belt. And I got some techniques. It's like the crane technique in Karate Kid. No can defend. If you hit a piece of sheet metal, especially one that's stressed in the shape, it's stamped. So if you just whack it with a hammer, you're prone to denting it. So using slow, steady, somewhat soft pressure, the proof's in the pudding. Nobody talked to the boss. This was a very technical operation. I had the sheet metal brake, the shrinker, the stretcher. We had a shop full of stuff. I utilize it all. All right, that's gonna work. What I discovered is that it actually works better upside down, and on the flip side, instead of adding this big bulge on top of the bulge, I reversed it, so the flatter side is meeting the top. The advantage to these hood sides is that they match the contour of the truck cowl. They're already curved, it's just a slight mod. Simple as it appears, they are stretched in two directions. It's more of a bowl shape than just a roll. Now looking down the lane, totally works. That's the right call. Look at that. So it's just like a little right there instead of going over up top. So the old upside down and flip it around technique. I'll get into my idea for the nose of this. Like I say, I got a thing for the beak. Nobody tell Victor what I'm doing, because it's pretty significant. This front end's looking good. I have one more element I want to tackle before I show it to Victor. There's two major changes between the truck and the Zephyr. The first, obviously, being the lid is raised. I just want to give the Zephyr a little bit more of a beak. It's not a heck of a lot, but being this raised up, I just wanted a little bit more action. From the beginning of the project, conceptualizing, I feel like it needs something to really make it even more exotic, more enhanced. I want to take this thing over the top. This whole front portion is smashed. You can see the cast grills don't even match up with the surface. There's a whole bunch of lead in there. It's all old. I think what I want to do is just build a complete new grill surround with all new sheet metal from this point down. Like the bow of a mighty vessel. In technical terms, we're going to perform a bit of rhinoplasty. The old nose job. As a plastic surgeon would do, you gotta work with what you got. First step is to create this center ridge, redefine the peak of the hood coming all the way through, and then creating a frame for the cast grills. The whole idea here is loving the Zephyr body. I just want to make it a little bit more exaggerated. The front end is smashed. Rather than try to restore it, leave the structure in place and build on top of that so it's even doubly strong. So this is the most challenging part of the whole thing, is how those two transitions from the hood into that valley above the cast grill. So you see it's pretty flat here, but then it transitions, and that's the hard part, that compound curve where it goes from a dish to flat. The thing about this modification is there's a really harsh transition from this outward curve on the structure I'm building to where it dishes in. But that's the beauty of the Zephyr nose, is that transition is really dramatic. This last part, I'm gonna attempt with just one sheet. If I gotta split it, so be it. The thing is, it's kind of a ribbon shape. It's coming from there, and then it's just going
So this whole smashed front end is sort of a blessing in disguise. If it was fine, it would just be another Zephyr, right? So this is allowing me to take it all the way and repair some damage. That totally works. It's hard when there's holes in things. You can't judge the surface area, but that looks like a Zephyr truck, for sure. Like a cab-over truck or a big truck will always have a bigger nose, and it does. Everybody in the car world loves the statement, yeah, you won't even know what changes have been made until you park it right next to another one of the same model. And that's the real cool factor of this. When you look at it, it's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. You know, what did they do? Park that next to another 39 Zephyr, and you're gonna know exactly what the heck happened. I'm gonna keep this fab up, patch in the other sides, get those rear areas where it meets the cowl put together, and that's that. I'm excited to see what Victor has to say about this. You know, there's been a ton of work since he last saw it, and you know, I think he's gonna be more than a little surprised. 3 easy steps, just like it always is. I got this Zephyr-nosed truck transformation pretty well underway. I'm feeling good about it.
Yo, already you're this far along?
Said do what I needed to, right?
Wow. It looks better than I pictured it in my mind. I mean, it's a shark coming at me. I mean, you're looking at the front of the Titanic coming towards you, man. I mean, what'd you do? That thing got like another foot on there, like.
I basically, like if it was silly putty or clay, I just took the hood and went up and forward. A lot of times I see Victor come through that door with concern in his eyes, you know, the list of enhancements rolling.
Wow.
I'm not seeing that this time.
My idea was this boat-looking cruiser. That is called the Zephyr Cruise Liner.
Right. Some folks want a convertible, some want a chop top, some want a Zephyr Cruise Liner. But it worked out, here it is. I'm relieved that all that effort is paid off.
I don't see any lines. How we're gonna open the hood? Are you cutting that in now or what?
The one trick thing I did, you know, the hood and fenders are all sealed up. So it's actually a one-piece nose. The whole thing slides forward. And then it tilts up like that.
Wow.
I'm pulling all of Victor's tricks on Victor. He's speechless and he's out of enhancements.
You know me and all my trick gadgets, the hood's gotta open, the trunk's gotta open. You're getting good, man. You're like figuring out everything that I was gonna do. Now it's done.
Looks like Victor is soaking up all of my ideas. I've just got one more big one to pitch. So the thing is, with this door and fender issue, the door is just not gonna open, you know? Becomes like one of those old Chevy fleet lines or something.
Yeah.
It's in the way of the door, 100%. I'd like to seal these doors up completely, just like I sealed the hood. You want a boat, right? You ever seen a boat with doors in it?
Not yet.
Yeah. We can't shorten the look of the front fenders. That's the character of the whole thing. Unfortunate result of that is that the doors won't open, and you know, the doors do look a little bit small in proportion to the whole side wall of the vehicle, so why not just delete them?
Then how do I get in this thing?
Like a boat. How else? You enter through the center. You walk right at, look. There is no doors, it's a boat. You just step right in, right? You come up, this is your walkway. What's more natural than that? So you get in the boat, right? This is open. You hop in, bring up the anchor, and you go cruising. You're calling it the cruise liner. It's gotta be a boat all the way through.
Now that's, I mean, every vehicle I ever had doors. No doors, now we're getting into a whole different
Uncharted
perspective
territory.
here.
I like stuff that's completely ridiculous. Let's be blunt. I vote we seal up the doors completely and walk in through the back door. Pretty wild, even for Victor and I.
I see. Huh?
Like this.
You got
It's
it
perfect.
right there.
It feels
The
natural.
Titanic.
Something like that. It feels very natural.
See, I
This is
mean,
perfect.
it even looks like a boat. That's it. Okay, hey, Zephyr cruise liner, eliminate the door, make the entry in the back. Hey, can we make this thing float while we're at it?
Anything's possible, man.
We'll go sailing.
He's falling right in line. I got him. You know, I got him hooked.
Will we do that, then we need a boat windshield if you're going that crazy. That's a brilliant idea. We have to cut this out, start from the front here where it lifts up right here and angle it back with a windshield.
The great thing about Victor is that he rolls with the punches. You know, if I had to sell this crazy concept to another client, probably have different results. He hears the concept, he starts thinking, which is a great thing. He's always looking to further the wildness.
I mean, I like that idea a lot because this is the only thing identifiable as a Chevy pickup at this point. So you lost the doors, you lost the fenders. I say nix the dash as well.
I'm in, let's do it.
There's something to be said for inspiration, you know. Strike while the iron's hot. I want to get this windshield off while Victor's inspiration is hot. I know you're a man of commitment, so if you got a little time, let's take this thing off. You can take this back to your place and have him start the body work on that for the new picture frame.
That would be one heck of a commitment on my part, huh? That way I can't go back on my word.
That's exactly right.
This is how I live. No moderation. Go over the edge, jump off the cliff, figure it out.
Aha! It's a boy. Look at that.
Look at Ian.
You got a new belt buckle.
We are going full boat on this. I'm getting the captain's hat. We're setting sail.
Look how sleek it looks.
That's pretty interesting. What are we doing?
With Victor fully committed, I got the doors sealed up. Finished the hood and added a custom panel to bring it all together. Then we went straight into a mock-up for the boat windshield. When people see a finished car at a car show, they really have no idea at what type of conversation it's taken to get there. It's like a laser level. It'll be perfect.
So that's the thing, I understand you want it to be a windshield, but from my eye level, I mean, it wouldn't bother me if it was down 2 inches.
Don't stretch your neck out. All right, so we're there, so. All right, that's it then.
This is just the temporary, you know, the working template for this process.
Nothing says boat windshield like a polished top rail. And it rigidizes it too.
Yeah, look at that.
Totally cool.
Yeah, the cruise liner's coming together.
That windshield's looking good, man, you know, but I gotta say, this 20-foot vehicle, we've only conquered about 10 feet of it. There's still a ton to do on the back end of this.
But the first 10 feet was the hardest. We're going downhill, man. You just have to cut out all the floor and cut out whatever you have to, then we'll start mocking it up.
Okay, so we're at step 3
Then
already.
we're done.
We made it through the front. That was crazy. I'm not even gonna throw up any expectations on what's happening on the back end. Remember, that's where it all started. We're modifying this tailgate cruiser thing. We haven't even touched on it.
The ideas we both have, we could just tie in and keep that same theme going.
Zephyr in the front, party in the back.
That's it right there.
Here we go.